Well, good morning, everybody, and let me get an early start wishing you happy Thanksgiving. This is Thanksgiving week, and just want to remind everybody that this coming Sunday, November 30 at First Baptist Church, we will have one worship service only. No life groups, not having all of our three worship services, one worship service combined at 10 a.m. this Sunday, November 30. So bear that in mind. Now, chapter 5 is a great chapter. And in fact, I preached a full sermon on this chapter the first Sunday in October this year, October 5. And you can find it on our website or on our YouTube channel, looking for the live stream from that Sunday. We archive those. We don't ever take them off, or an edited version of it that's under the members tab for sermons. So go ahead and check that out if you didn't hear the sermon and you want to go into more depth on this chapter than what we'll do today. Now, in the opening part of this chapter, Paul uses the word tent or house, depending on your translation, to describe our physical body, and says that in this life, our tent, this earthly house, our physical body groans, it hurts, gets sick, ages, dies, and so on. And we groan because we're looking forward to our heavenly tent, our heavenly house, our resurrected body. And when we die and lay down this earthly tent, in other words, the body is buried, the body decays, we're not left naked without a body, without a tent, without a house. Okay? There is a spiritual body. There is a resurrected body that awaits us. He here in other places talks about how the spiritual one, the heavenly one, is different than the earthly one. They look the same, but they're two different bodies. The resurrection is not just a resuscitation of the earthly body. It is a transformation of the earthly tent into a heavenly one, into a spiritual one, into a different kind in the next life. And he goes into detail about that in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 that we looked at some days ago. Now, devotionally, what I want to talk about briefly is the fact that Jesus died for everyone, not some, everyone, but not everyone lives for Jesus. Verse 14, let's look at it together. Verse 14, for the love of Christ controls us, having concluded this, that one died for all, and therefore all died. Verse 15, and he died for all, so that they who live might no longer live for themselves, but for him who died and rose again on their behalf. Now, there are some of our brothers and sisters that we refer to as Calvinist, Reformed theology, who believe that Jesus died only for the elect, those that God chose from the foundation of the earth. God chose that he was going to save these and did not choose to save others. They are the elect, predestined to be saved. And that when Jesus died, he died only for those that God had elected, that God had chosen, that God had predestined to be saved. And in theology, historically, Jesus dying only for them rather than for everyone is typically referred to as limited atonement or particular atonement. That Jesus' atonement, his death on the cross, was limited to the elect, or it was limited to that particular group. And they would even say, some of them, many of them, that if Jesus literally died for everyone, then everyone would be saved. Universalism. And of course, the Bible does not teach universalism, but they would say if Jesus died for everybody, then everybody has to be saved because Jesus' death is effective. If he died for you, you're going to be saved. Calvinism and Reformed theology is a form of philosophy that we normally refer to as a deterministic philosophy, that everything that happens is determined by God, that everything that happens is predetermined by God. Now, and in recent years, there's been a resurgence, if you will, of Calvinism, Reformed theology among Baptists. Now, in full disclosure, I am not Calvinist. There is not a Calvinistic bone in my body. Our church is not a Calvinistic church. We believe the Bible teaches that Jesus really did die for everyone. That does not mean that everyone is going to be saved, but he really did die for everyone, but not everyone lives for him. Now, some Bible verses that talk about Jesus dying for everyone, John 1:29, John 3:16, 1 Timothy 2, verses 5 and 6, 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 10, Hebrews chapter 2, verse 9, 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9, 1 John chapter 2, verses 1 and 2, Isaiah 53, 6. I think I mentioned John 3:16. He died for everyone. We believe that. And what Calvinists often do is they redefine all and say it refers to all the elect. Well, you have to twist yourself into a pretzel to do that, but that's what they do. But not everyone lives for Jesus. Not everyone is born again. He died for all, so that those who live might die to self and live for him, not for ourselves. That is not a deterministic statement. That is a descriptive statement. He's describing reality, that Jesus died for everyone so that they could live for him. Yes, you can't live for him without Jesus dying for you. But just because he died for you and you can live for him doesn't mean that you will live for him. So don't make the text say more than the text says, because you have a predetermined understanding that you force on the text. This text is not deterministic. It's simply describing reality. Jesus died for everyone. Why? So that they could live for him instead of living for themselves. That doesn't mean he's determining that everybody will live for him. So don't make the text say more than it says. Now, once we live for Jesus, we die to self. We are believers, we're disciples, we're saved. We get a new passion in life, and that's found in verse 9. Therefore, we also have as our ambition, whether at home or absent, whether here on earth, at home in this body, or absent from this body, meaning I've died and I've left this body behind. So living here or living in the afterlife, our passion, our ambition, he says, as disciples, is to be pleasing to him, to be pleasing to God. Let me ask you something. What is the driving force of your life? What is the driving force of your life? Is it to be pleasing to God? Is it? I'll see you tomorrow for chapter 6. God bless you.